Well, we've all heard about this tragic murder of Yarren Lashinsky and Sarah Mgrim by a man who chanted, "Free Palestine." This is an act of anti-Semitism that is on the rise around the world right now. You know, words have effect on actions. And when you have thousands of students protesting at universities like Harvard and others and saying these statements like "Free Palestine" and "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free," there can be cause and effect. We shouldn't be shocked when someone then weaponizes those statements and takes action. And now we have the loss of 2 innocent lives. Even more tragic, Yarren was going to propose to Sarah over in Jerusalem next week. He had even bought the ring. Let's break down this phrase, "Free Palestine." People like to chant it. Let's do a little history lesson together, shall we? Gaza was already free from Israeli occupation. Back in 2005, Israel pulled out of Gaza completely. There were no settlers, no military, even graves were removed. But in 2006, the Palestinian people elected Hamas to represent them. And by 2007, Hamas had total control. They didn't use it to build schools or hospitals. They turned Gaza into a launch pad for terrorism. But Israel still sent aid even as rockets were fired. And even as they were attacked, Israel would supply water, electricity, and humanitarian aid to the Palestinian people and, of course, the people living in Gaza. But then came October 7th, 2023. We can't forget this day when Hamas invaded Israel. They murdered 1,200 people in cold blood, including women, children, and the elderly. They did the unthinkable to these people, torturing them before their deaths. That's not resistance. That's terrorism, plain and simple. Yet, students will gather together, and men like this individual who killed these 2 innocent people who worked at the Israeli embassy, saying things like "Free Palestine," with no mention of Hamas, with no mention of what's really going on. When people say "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free," I wonder if most of these people know what the river is and if they know what the sea is. The sea is the Mediterranean. The river is the Jordan. Here's what it really means. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, or another way to put it, there'll be no Israel. They want to eradicate Israel. They want the Jewish people gone. Iran, the sponsor of Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis, has repeatedly said openly it is their desire to wipe Israel off the face of the map. So people say, well, we need a 2-state solution. Israel would be willing to do that, but the problem is, how do you negotiate with someone that does not acknowledge your right to exist? Imagine trying to have a relationship with someone and saying, "I want to be friends with you. I know we've been enemies up to this point." And they said, "I don't acknowledge your right to exist. In fact, I want you dead." Okay, that's going to be a pretty tough relationship. And that's exactly what's going on right now. So look, here's what we need to do. We need to be educated on what's happening. We need to stand with our Jewish friends and speak out against anti-Semitism in any way that it's displayed. We need to pray for the peace of Jerusalem, as the Bible tells us to. We need to pray for the innocent Palestinian people who are suffering under the reign and rule of Hamas. And we need to also remember to pray for the families of Yarren and Sarah, who had their whole lives before them. So tragic. May God give them all peace. God has established the Jewish people in this homeland as a fulfillment of Bible prophecy. God has given us a promise that if we will bless the Jewish people, he will bless us. Let's pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Let's bless the Jewish people. Let's speak out against anti-Semitism. Let's pray for the family of these 2 young people who tragically lost their lives. And let's pray that more people come to know Jesus Christ.